All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on back to the Cinema Lords podcast. This is going to be our first House of the Dragon recap. This is going to be for episode 1. We did a little review show last week, which I thought went pretty well, aside from the fact that my mic didn't really work, which, who knows, fingers crossed. Hopefully this week it does. I think it's all set, but I've said that like the last 5 shows, so who can really say for sure? But I'm back here with Luke, who was also here with us last week. Luke, what's going on, bud?
Doing good, baby. Cannot be happier with how the first episode came out.
Yep.
I know you were jacked up. You said you've already watched it 3 times.
Yep. Just watched it again before we got in here.
Yep. So I'm equally jacked up, and love how they're taking everything from the book and still kind of picking and choosing what they want, but also staying really loyal to it. So can't wait to dive into it.
Like to hear that. Yeah, no, I agree. I loved the first episode. Looking very forward to talking about it. Before we dive in, as always, I want to say thank you to Kirk Minahan, KMS Network, for putting the show up on the KMS Network, like I just said, and just really appreciate it. The more eyeballs, the better, and I hope that some people are also big Thrones heads and they want to be, hearing more talk about House of the Dragon. So hopefully there's a lot of Game of Thrones fans out there in the Minifan world. But thank you, Kirk.
Yeah, what an awesome partnership, especially for you. I've always loved Kirk, and
oh yeah, it's great.
Just love to see you being more of a part of that show and that basketball team.
It's a dream come true.
And yeah, so cool to have our podcast, your podcast, be part of the network.
It's a weird world we're living in at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start things off. Let's just go. I'm going to kind of just shift right through the episode. I didn't cover like every single thing, but just kind of the scenes that jumped out to me. Right away, we got new intro. Same music, but an entirely new like opening credits scene, which I thought was pretty cool. It literally just, if you watch it, which I already watched it, like I said, 3 times now. Kind of is just a depiction of the Targaryen history, like right from the Doom of Valyria right up to present day. You see like Jason is dead dragon and shit. Not Jason, Luke Sarris, Luke and his dead dragon. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, really cool. Love the visual, the threads being woven into the tapestry kind of thing. And there's so much to pull out of that. You could probably analyze that intro for an hour and still not pick up on everything. But it's weird. It seems like they might be foreshadowing some things in there, or
maybe.
I got to really dive into it and see everything that they're portraying. But
I kept watching it pretty close. Like I said, I just kept picking up all right, this is just, it starts with the conquest, and then you see him and 2 Aegon and 2 girls all on dragons. Okay. Yep. Then there's a skip, a couple things that I didn't know about, but then they show the scene that opened up the series. Them in the throne room for the announcement of who's going to be the next king, and it's between obviously Viserys and Rhaenys. So that was where from there on everything kind of started to really make sense. You know what I mean? Because that's all stuff we've actually seen.
Right.
So there was a little bit of a couple of stitching or whatever you want to call it that I didn't recognize. But
it'd be cool if they maybe keep adding to it as events unfold.
That would be cool.
They can keep adding to that tapestry.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Yeah, that would be cool. But just something different. I like to. Obviously, you can't change the score, can't change that intro music, but just a little bit different.
And then also just starting, I think season 1 did just the cold open, right?
Yes.
And so they decided to do the full recap first, which was almost 3 minutes. It was much longer than usual.
Yeah.
And it's longer than any of the trailers, but yeah, and then straight into the trailer, and then opening scene. So just interesting choice there.
We opened things up back in the north. Didn't really see it at all, obviously, during the first season of House of the Dragon. But we're back at fucking Castle Black. We're walking the wall. So that was pretty cool. That's a cool way to open the episode. We kind of find out that winter is coming, too. The snows are here and shit, which, again, I thought that was pretty cool. But we see Jace, and we get introduced to a new character, Cregan Stark, who's currently the head of Winterfell.
Yeah. He's the Lord of Winterfell. He's still pretty young. I think he's only supposed to be a couple years older than Jace.
Yeah, I think Rhaenyra said that at the end of last season when she sent him there. She's I think you guys are pretty close in age.
Yeah.
But so they're walking the wall, like I said. They're kind of just talking about the war to come. And Jace is there asking for men. He's got 2,000 old beards, he says, which I felt like it was a fucking sweet. What are these guys going to do? But that's true. They are from the north, like you said. So, that they have a little bit extra bite to them. Yeah. But they'll take anything they can at this point. The one big takeaway that I took from this scene was what Cregan tells Jace about when King Jaehaerys and the Queen came down to the wall. They came down to the wall visiting. I think they said it was like 100 years ago, almost something like that at this point.
Yeah, it's Viserys' grandparents.
Right, okay. So they went to, they traveled there. They brought their dragons, and the dragons refused to cross like the wall to the north of it.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh shit, like that's something interesting. I feel like they mentioned that obviously for a reason, so I think there's something to that. But we did also see Daenerys' dragons go north of the wall.
Right. Yeah. So that's a little unexplained because in the books they also mention the same thing where Alysanne visits the wall. Yep.
Okay.
And even in the Game of Thrones series, the original 5 books, they mentioned that too. How dragons had never crossed the wall before, specifically mentioning Jaehaerys and Alysanne. And so it's just kind
of so long since I've read them that I fucking
So
I don't remember everything about them. That's for sure.
I don't know if we're assuming something changed in Daenerys' time or what it is.
I got you,
but we'll see. Just real quick to back it up a little bit too. That opening voiceover, Kragan's talking about how like 10% of all
the men from Winterfell would go to us,
and including Starks and everyone, and that it's like.
So it wasn't just filled of fucking like rapists and murderers like it is in the Game of Thrones show.
Right. And he's saying how like duty is sacrifice, and this isn't looked upon as like a sacrifice. It's like an opportunity
like honor.
Honor.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which I like that spin zone, but I'm not buying it if it's me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this fucking sucks.
Right. And then just to see them being so dedicated to the Night's Watch and everything at this time, and then what we see in Game of Thrones where it's just like 200 guys who are like, the worst of the worst people.
Right. They used to say like there used to be 13 posts, I think, right? That they were all manned along the wall. I think it's 13.
Yeah, I think they have most of them manned right now. I think there's a couple other castles too, but yeah, they used to have it all manned, and you could just tell it was more.
Game of Thrones was only 2, right?
Running smoothly.
3?
Yeah, just Castle Black. John eventually sends out people to Eastwatch, and
I swore there was one more, but
yeah, because there's one that he sends Stannis' wife to.
Oh, right.
But he ended up opening a few more once they get the wildlings on their side of the wall and stuff. He sends them out, but I don't remember all the names.
Yeah, nope, good call. The scene ends with the Raven coming to tell, Jace that his brother's dead. Yeah. So that was interesting. I did see online, obviously this is just rumors and speculation, but I saw that Kragon's character, or Kragon Stark, not his character, but the kid that plays him, is not supposed to be back this season. He's not going to be back in until season 3.
Interesting.
Again, that's just a rumor, but I know you've read the book. I just took that to assume that things haven't progressed far enough yet in the war for him to feel like he needs to go. Especially with the things he was saying, how is when winter comes, his priority is more focused on what's north of the wall and the north than it is like King's Landing and the actual throne. Right. So I'm just like, I took that, like I said, when maybe things just get so drastic along the way, there's so much fucking chaos and so many men are dying that they really need to go and back them up, and that's finally what moves them down. But
yeah, they're kind of also really far away from King's Landing. Like, they're kind of not really going to be involved or like caught in the crossfire that much anyway. So
for sure.
So that's another reason why they're splitting the two. But
no, that's true. 2,000 men though. That's just kind of. I feel like that's almost like a.
Right, of his
it's kind of almost like a fuck you in a way.
Yeah, and his
it's
worst.
Like, here you go. Yeah, exactly. His oldest soldiers.
Right. And then just one other thing, when he is telling Jace about the threat beyond the wall and stuff, and Jace is like, yeah, but the rightful queen that you swore an oath to, yada yada. But then his voice trails off as soon as he actually gets a glimpse.
Yes.
And so it just kind of shows you that is the main threat. That is the thing that they need to be worried about.
Yeah.
Like this Game of Thrones doesn't really matter at the end of the day, which is kind of what we end up seeing in in Game of Thrones, which is
that's true.
It's really about humans versus the undead.
That's just got to be an overwhelming sight, though, too. Just like how far up you are, and just looking into a vast, snowy fucking wasteland, a tundra, which. I think that's one of the first things he says is that, like, basically, like, what is this fucking snow? Like, I've never seen snow before.
Yeah.
So, I think seeing, like I said, a snowy freaking wasteland was probably like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't...
how immense it is.
Just hear stories, too, I'm sure, as a kid. Like, oh, like, fucking the wall and what's north of it, the wildlings. But I think probably to actually, like, see the stories that you've been hearing about, it's like, oh, wow, like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Same thing, like, Tyrion... didn't believe anything, like the Grumpkins and the Snarks, but then he actually goes to the top of the wall. He was planning to take a piss off of it, but then he gets up there and he's like, holy shit, like some of this stuff could be legit.
Yeah.
And so, again, just the repeating of those same sentiments a couple hundred years before. Like
just nice really to see the North again.
Yes.
Just nice to be back there for a minute.
Yeah, and just a real true Stark. He looks like a Stark. He's got ice on his back.
Yeah.
Cool,
Thing's
like, kind of
fucking
Scottish
looks
accent.
So fucking big, man.
Yeah.
It looks so big because Ned doesn't carry it like that. Like the couple times we see it, it's like it bring me my sword and someone fucking come waddles over with it.
Right.
He's just carrying that thing on his back. Like holy shit! Like are you gonna pull that thing out and like use it? Because that's extraordinary.
I know. Yeah, I want to see it come up again. I didn't know that he wasn't going to come back this season, but
like I said, that's just a rumor. I mean, who knows? That could totally not be true, but that's just what I took it to mean.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds accurate.
Yeah, I mean, like we know what I think it's planned to be 4 seasons, so this dance is going to take a while.
Yep.
They're probably going to go pretty slow as far as time wise. So, like I said, maybe he's just not brought into the fucking flames yet.
Right.
Next one that I thought was pretty cool. It was just a short one. Was Rhaenys and Daemon. Rhaenys arrives back on Dragonstone, and Daemon's just like, "Yo, hop back on. We're gonna go head down to fucking King's Landing." He's like, "Between the two of us, we can kill Vhagar and Aemon, like a son for a son." Just interesting that. Well, first of all, you can tell that he's getting stir crazy. You find out that he's basically just waiting for the Rhaenyra to come back, and he wants this war. He's finally got it, and now he just wants to go. But I like to see that Rhaenys is just like, dude, like you can't talk to me like you talk to everybody else, like. They're cousins because her and Viserys are cousins, and obviously Viserys and Daemon are brothers, so they're cousins. Right. She's the elder one, she's the older one, and obviously fucking Driftmark is a huge asset to them in this war. It's not like he can go and fucking pissing anybody off. She's defending it with her dragon, so he's really got to be on his best behavior. She doesn't have to take his shit.
Yeah,
I just thought it was cool to see somebody be able to fucking just snap back at Daemon.
Oh yeah, because at the end he's like, "Well, now I command you to ride with me."
Yeah,
and she was like, "Would that you were the king."
Yeah, and she just like pulls her glove off and just walks off, and it's just like, "You a bad bitch."
Yeah, like you said, she's either the first or second most powerful one on the team. It's between her and Daemon. Like she could be more powerful than Daemon even.
Between because her dragon,
the ships and bigger dragon, and all that. So she knows that she's valuable and that she doesn't have to be bossed around, and she could even maybe be higher ranking than him.
Yeah,
especially because Rhaenyra and him are button heads a little bit already, and we see that develop more. For sure in this episode. So we'll see if maybe Rhaenyra becomes the more like the go-to or what.
Yeah, I think the fact that she was like like up for whatever you want to call it, like up to be queen with like Viserys. Mm-hmm. I think that in a way like puts you in a high regard for yourself.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's also like, now that Viserys is dead, actually no, she was already older than him too. She's like really now like the elder statesman in the room as far as like the Targaryens, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like that's something too. Even at like the end of last season when everyone was so quick to like pledge for Rhaenyra, she was always kind of just like very reserved and just like watching and not like quick to bend the knee at all.
Yeah. Still waited to have that combo with her husband before she let him declare for them and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Where she's still in charge. She still told him like, no, we can't just go back to Driftmark. We need to. Like, these are our grandchildren.
Completely forgetting about his.
Yeah,
forgetting about his grand.
We're gonna get roped into this regardless. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And then, and then he just does what she says.
Oh shit!
Makes a big scene out of it, like he's a boss.
Whose dragon's bigger? Rhaenys', right?
I think Meleys is considered the second biggest.
All right, let's say because I know Caraxes is pretty fucking huge too.
He is, and he's got that funky like snake shape.
Yeah,
he's definitely more agile, and
I'm ready to see more of that thing in action, which I'm sure is going to be happening very, very, very soon.
Yeah, I could see him being more dangerous, like once he lands and shit, like just whipping everything around, and being that much faster, and
can definitely like probably extend into like fucking nooks and crannies and shit, like a fucking horror movie. War of the Worlds and the robots and shit.
Yeah, I can see a scene like that.
But I'm interested. I'm ready for the preview for this week's episode. Looks like there's already going to be some fucking chaos. So.
I know. Yeah, they showed 4 or 5 dragons and
dead bodies on battlefields and shit. Yeah. Daemon in his armor, like it looks like in 2 completely different scenes. It looked like.
Yeah, one where he's like rushing to grab his helmet too. Like, just like let's fucking go.
Yeah. So hopefully we're gonna already get into some of that this week. But like I said, I thought that was a really cool scene. Finally seeing someone that really sticks up against Daemon, and she puts up a nice little fight and fucking gets the final laugh as she walks off, just kind of grabbing her balls. Yeah, it's awesome.
And they spent a lot more time showing the disagreements within the Greens, but they did show a lot of these little clips of the Blacks kind of butting heads a little bit.
Yeah,
it's more shit's hitting the fan more for the Greens right now, but the Blacks are are not all on the same page either. So.
Yeah, squabbling on both sides.
Yep.
Which, I mean, is so obvious when you have so many people wanting to pull things in different directions.
Yeah, too many decision makers.
The next one is probably one of the biggest scenes, I would say, in this episode. It's King Aegon coming to get his son Jaehaerys for the small council meeting and his little conversation with Helena. This was a wild scene. As I said, this is the third time I've watched it. Was today. I noticed it the second time I watched it on Monday, obviously because I know more that happened. I knew that scene was going to be really big. As soon as Aegon's walking in, or as he's walking in, it shows her like sewing and she whispers something, and I was like, oh yeah, like what does she whisper? And she literally says it's just the boy, or they only she goes, they only want the boy. So it's like, all right. Wow. Didn't notice that the first time, but that's interesting because it's not even on the subtitle. Huh. So it's like, that time I was like, oh shit, like clearly, and so I rewound it, and I was like, fucking, rewound it a second time to make sure I was right, and I was like, all right, that's definitely what it was.
And it's kind of a curveball because immediately Aegon comes in and asks for his son.
Yep.
Right. So like you could maybe let that pass, like she was just seeing Aegon was about to walk in the room or something.
Could be,
but clearly it was just relating to the end of the episode.
So he explains he wants to bring the small council meeting. Even the next line that she said kind of made me curious. She says, "What if he doesn't want to be king?"
Right.
That was a weird one too for me. That one kind of, it seemed like, to me at least, it seemed like she already had some kind of a dream, already had some kind of a vision based on like what she whispered and stuff. And then I think maybe if she can somehow like change something, maybe it's not like set. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a way to still change what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, maybe the way she dreams it, she can tell if it's
right. Maybe they say something about like the heir or something like that, the heir to the throne, and maybe she's like, all right, well, maybe if he's not like next in line to be king, maybe that'll somehow save him or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could just a thought that I had while I was watching it back, though. But
yeah,
thought that line was weird.
Very weird.
Weird line.
And then it's just sad too that like Aegon just completely dismisses it again, despite like her seeing Aemon gonna lose his eye and beast beneath the boards and all that stuff coming true. Still, no one is.
There's no way
giving a shit.
Yeah, I think everyone is so like easily ready to just not even forget, but just like not even listening to what she's saying because it's usually like in fucking Mad Libs.
Yeah, I know.
So I think people are just like, all right, she's a little tapped in the head. I don't think they fucking even think anything of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What does Aegon say? Like she is a mystery or whatever.
Yeah. Which she says she's scared. And Aegon, fucking don't worry about it. Vhagar's protected, and she says, not about them, the rats. Mm-hmm. Which I had two thoughts right away when she said that. My first thought was very basic, just like a traitor. Like there's somebody on our side who's going to give up information, and it's going to be bad. It's going to cause a bad outcome. But I was like, that seems kind of like on the nose. I don't know. That seems a little obvious. And then the next thing I thought of was, I was like, they're king and queen now. I'm assuming they're probably in the same room. And we saw like a billion different fucking pictures of rats. Or not even pictures, but in the first season of Viserys' bedroom. And they were just rats like all over the place. Yeah. So I was like, maybe it's something going to be like that. Like, is fucking this rat going to fucking eat somebody? Are we going to have a plague?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Because they had been hinting at that for so long. So like, what the hell is going on with these rats?
Yeah.
Because it would be, I think, at least half the episodes, if not more. Like you said, it would just be a zoom out
in the first
of some
season?
Intense scene,
yeah.
And then you see a rat peeking over the rafters. Or,
yeah, Alicent's having the one time I remember the clearest one is when her and Viserys are having sex. She gets called to the bedroom, and she's just laying there, fucking looking as miserable as can be. And she looks up, and like on the upper bedpost, running across is one of the rats.
Right.
That one always stood out to me. But there was a few other times that they showed the rats in the bedroom, so I was like, I don't know. Is that like maybe some connection there? Clearly, I was wrong, but
yeah, I still think there could be more than just the rat catcher. But we can look into that later. It's nothing from the books, just like a little idea. But
I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a fuck if this is the Red Keep and this is the nice place. All of these rats is a real fucking problem for me.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm fucking. I found a couple mouse in the house and I was losing sleep over it. I don't like fucking rats, dude. That's it for me. I don't do rodents.
Yeah, don't need any 4-pound rodents.
Rats fucking terrify me. I fucking hate them.
I don't know if you remember in Game of Thrones too. The instead of a rat infestation, they have a cat infestation.
Oh yeah,
which they kind of do to get rid of the rats.
To get rid of the rats. That I remember reading in the books.
Yeah, because they have to fire the rat catcher after this and get some other thing, but then they just have a cat infestation instead.
There you go. That actually makes so much sense now. because I actually remember reading that. That's why Arya was able to fucking chase around so many. It was just because there was so many in the streets trying to control the rats.
Yep.
Good call. But yeah, was there anything else? I mean, you've read the book, so was that on the nose for you? Like,
yeah, I mean, there was no rat imagery in the books, and we don't get any of Helena's prophecies in the books either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a huge game changer, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an added thing for this.
No shit. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
No shit.
Nobody's really talking to her in real life. Obviously, they aren't listening to her even in the show.
Right,
so that's why
it
wouldn't make its way to a maester to write down the story.
That's fucking... that makes so much sense.
It's added in.
That's very cool, actually. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously, now, after what's happened in the 3 different circumstances we've seen, it's like anytime she says something, I'm just like... Gotta get down my whiteboard and fucking scribble that shit down and what you mean?
Yeah. And everything's come through, and even though I know that, you picked up on 2 other things she said that I didn't even listen to, like she just wants the boy and doesn't want to be the heir or whatever. So I didn't even think about those 2 things, but those could be prophecy too.
Yeah, they only want the boy was
that one definitely was.
Yeah, that was a good one. And obviously, we see it at the end of the episode, so we'll get to. But she says the same thing again as the boy. Like she refers to him as the boy, which is almost like a weird thing for me to think. Like she's almost like disassociating herself from like being her mom.
Right.
I said that wrong both times, by the way.
Well, and those 2 kids are twins also, Jaehaera and Jaehaerys.
Okay.
Yep.
So that all right. Okay.
So that could maybe
that makes sense too.
Another reason, like the boy, the girl. I don't know.
I got you.
And they look the same, apparently.
They do look exactly the same.
Even when Aegon comes to get Jaehaerys, he's like, which one is this?
No, he knew.
Didn't he have to peek at him first?
Well, so she's like, actually, it's funny. I didn't notice that. She's sitting like with her back to them. Mm-hmm. So he literally just kind of like goes and leans over her shoulder to like look, and he knows right away.
Okay.
And friggin', it's actually one of the other things I have written down that I just fucking didn't have like colored or anything. But fucking between that and him wanting to take Jaehaerys to the small council meeting and like educate him and stuff like that, I was like, all right, I was like, maybe this guy seems like an asshole from the last year, but maybe he's not such a bad dad. I was like, maybe he's an okay dad.
Yeah, he seemed nice and he's like happy to be there and stuff.
I'm gonna say it a few times, but he was the big winner for me this episode.
Yeah, he's definitely more likable. I feel a little sorry for him, even though he also showed that he's incompetent and disrespectful. But
cracked me up a few times too.
You do relate to him.
Yeah, he was good. I liked him a lot.
And he also had no idea what his son was doing. He's like, where's my son?
Like, that's a good
He's at his lessons like he is every day. He's like, and where is that?
That's a good counterpoint. All right.
But he still wants them to bring them there. But then he teaches them how to be a bully once they're in court.
Oh, man.
Not really
so
getting anything good out of it. But.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Actually, so that's actually what we're basically going to next. I just have it all tied in this one. But we see Allison and Christian Cole fucking.
Yeah.
Which...
A little carpet munching.
Just the 2 biggest hypocrites in the history of the fucking world. Dude, this Christian Cole guy I truly believe, aside from Joffrey, is the worst character in either of these shows. I hate him so fucking much. It is unbelievable. Yeah, everything that he says goes directly against something else that he does or says. It's crazy.
Yeah, the biggest hypocrite. And still talking shit about Rhaenyra for the same stuff he's doing. And, just will not get over getting rejected.
Dude was all mad and was like, you want me to be your whore? And it's quite literally now the queen's whore.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Just giving some one-way sex to her. And
yeah. Talking about friggin' dirtying his cloak and shit like that. Like, dude, you're dirtying this thing all the time. Which is definitely why he says at the end of that, when they're getting ready to go to the small council meeting, he's like, oh, can you, help me out with my cloak? And she, pins it in. It's like, that thing is so tainted.
I know.
That thing's black.
Yeah, I won't cover up the atrocities that you're doing.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure that'll come back and they'll reinforce that imagery even more.
Just unbelievable. And she was mad. This whole thing almost started because of Rhaenyra fucking Cole and not telling Allison about it.
I know.
She made her life hell for over a decade. I don't even know, 15, 20 years. Just because of that.
Exactly the same.
And now she's doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
It's fucking nuts.
I keep doing these little things to you to try to make you feel for Allison a little bit. This is a hard one to defend, but you do have to think about how she has never actually been with anyone she likes. She was forced to fuck
Viserys.
she deserves to have some happiness too, or whatever. But
dude,
she's doing with the worst possible person.
She probably for a while was just like, all right, this guy's almost dead. Like I only have to do this so much longer.
Yeah,
and then 5 years go by. And she's like, all right, now he's definitely going to be going soon. Like, he's really looking bad. Then another 5 years goes by.
Yeah.
The dude wouldn't fucking die.
While constantly disrespecting her kids' claims. And so she grew to resent him beyond terrible old man sex. But
I mean, I'm sure that
gotta feel
was
for her a
awful.
little bit.
Yeah. Giving him some baths and shit, too. Giving him rubs. That gross skin.
Yeah.
But they end up heading out from banging. They go to the small council meeting. They walk in together, which if you know, or I noticed, Otto definitely like gives them both like a look, like kind of curious as to like them walking in together. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's probably not the first time, so it seems like he suspects something's going on between the two of them.
Yep.
Which he's a smart guy. I'm not totally surprised. We see that King Aegon did find his son, brought him to court. And he's messing with, I don't know what those little ball things are that they have for like the small council. I kind of like them though.
It is cool.
It is. It's like you can't fucking, if you don't have your ball, you can't speak. You can't even be here. Like, get out.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are about, why they left, but I think they're kind of cool.
Yeah. Another thing not in the book. It's just like
just created.
Yeah. It's like just checking into Parliament thing and like, it seems like it's an old ritual kind of thing that maybe fell to the wayside. Maybe when Robert took over or whatever. At
some point, yeah. There's a lot of that in the show, which obviously I think is a big part of it, but I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. It's like we've seen it one way, and now we're like, something in the middle here is going to change, and things are going to be significantly altered in a lot of different dynamics. But he's messing with the fucking Lannister guy there, fucking Tywin, who's on the small council. I think he's the coin guy, king of the coin, or fucking Master of coin. There you go. But fucking Jaehaerys, the little boy, he keeps playing with his little fucking ball thing. He keeps trying to get it back. He's all polite about it. And you just see the king. He's just loving it. Like, he's just laughing and cracking up, he wants his son to be a little pain in the ass, just like him, which I think is hysterical.
Yeah. So, not the best priorities, but.
No.
And, like,
everybody else is talking, ride.
And, like, the maester's like, I think we have to declare war. And
true.
He's just, like, staring at his son. Has no idea what's going on. It's like, oh, what?
True. That's a good point. totally, like, not completely caring much at all about what's going on around him.
We'll tell the fat Tullys to bend their knee and...
if not, we'll burn them to the ground.
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Tells the fucking Lannister guy to give him a pony ride, which I was like, oh, please. I was like, this is going to be great. Which is one of the first times this episode, I was like, all right. I was like, I might be in on this guy.
Yeah.
I was like, he's just embarrassing people and just being an asshole. Like, I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. Alicent unfortunately puts a quick stop to it, which sucks. But yeah, no, I thought that scene was enjoyable. The other thing I noticed is Aemon walks in. Alicent like kind of calls out like, "Why are you here? Like, you're not a part of this." Aegon says like, "He's my brother, best sword." He is, and Alicent kind of just like looks over at him and like she seems like she's angry at him, which I guess. She has a right to be angry, but I don't know. It's kind of like a weird to be that angry. I feel like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just one of the first times we see him flexing his kingly power over her. Where like she can't,
maybe.
She can strongly suggest things or like criticize, but she can't be like, no, you can't do that. And we see that later too with Otto, where he like coaches Aegon to doing something more appropriate, but then the second time he's like, no, I'm doing this, and I'm the king.
It's funny. All my favorite scenes this episode all are because of Aegon.
Yeah.
I guess Aegon and Helena. That scene too.
Yeah.
But I liked that one a lot. I thought that one was funny. From there, what was the next one? Oh, Rhaenyra. We see Rhaenyra. She gets the proof that she needs. Actually, this was just a small one. This was actually more of a question I just had for you as far as specifics. She's going out. We found out she's looking for evidence that Luke actually died. She finds the dragon wing, she finds her clothes, and then she starts mourning on the beach, and then you see her dragon, Syrax. She, like, lets out a huge mourn. Is that because of Rhaenyra? Or is she somehow...
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Arax, like...
It seemed to me a combo, like...
Did Syrax lay eggs?
Yeah.
She did. So I was thinking, is this one of her eggs, and she's mourning too? Or is she just mourning because her and Rhaenyra are kind of, like, attached? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good catch. I didn't think about it possibly being, like... It's like sun dragon, but that could be. I assumed it was half, at least, mourning the dragon because the dragon was like family.
Okay, that's true too. Good point.
But then also, like you said, mirroring the emotions of her rider, who they have the really strong bond with. So I assumed it was a little bit of both, but I didn't think about how it could actually be her. Like Cyrax's offspring was that dragon, so it could be a triple.
I'm trying to think. I know, I just rewatched season 1 too. I know, like when Damon's rattling off all the names of dragons, he says that there's another like hatch incubating or something like that. I don't know if he says like the name of, like, I don't know if he says, for instance, like Cyrax. I have another batch of Cyrax's eggs.
I think he does. I think it was Cyrax.
So that's the only thing I can't remember. If it was, and he says another, that would make me assume that she already did once.
Yes, and I know for a
that
fact
was
that
like fucking
she is
A-Rex.
known for doing many eggs, like at least a few batches.
Okay.
So in general, I know that. I just can't remember exactly which ones.
All right.
I'd say high likelihood that is one of her offspring.
Okay.
Was Arax.
Arax, bad name.
Yeah.
Bad name.
Yeah, like a cleaning solution or something.
But that was one small thing I had from that one.
We could go back one little scene right before we cut to Rhaenyra.
For sure, though.
They're leaving the small council, and Larys snags Alicent, and he sort of implies that he knows what she was up to. He's like,
"Oh, it's
like
I
tried talking to you earlier, but you were indisposed." And
that was so good.
And she doesn't address him there, but she just kind of moves on. But you definitely get the feeling that he does know.
Which I don't know how, if you're her, I don't know how you could possibly think he doesn't know.
I know.
Like, this dude knows everything.
Yeah.
He tells you every secret about everybody, and you think he doesn't know what you're doing just because you're the queen? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And then he proceeds to say how he went through everybody in the castle and got rid of all of
Spies
people that are
shit.
like loyal to Otto
Yep.
and the White Worm, and then replaced them with all of his own people, is what he said. Which means that now she's extra getting spied on.
Yep. Which is why I think right after that they show her in the bath.
Yeah, and she just can't even.
She tells like the handmaidens to get out. She pulls a Cersei Lannister.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one thing. There's 1 point for Allison, one small point.
Yep.
But she pulls a Cersei Lannister. It's like, fuck it, I'll clean myself.
Yep. And then it's also kind of hinting like she's dirty. She can't even, the maid's trying to clean her hands. Blood's on her hands.
Yep.
And she can't, she's just scrubbing the same spot. Never moves on from it. And just like feels dirty.
I like it.
Because she's obviously guilty about being with Cole. She says, "We'll never do this again." They proceed to do it later in the episode and in the preview for next episode. But she knows it's wrong.
Yep, true.
And then,
I mean, I can't believe that there's like, I mean, I get it. He's kind of an idiot, but like, there's like no guilt at all for you just clearly like manipulating the shit out of your child.
yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, he's a bit of an idiot, but like, he is king. You did want him to be king. Like, is you gonna let him do anything at all?
Yeah, terrible parenting. It's a big parenting show in general.
And it doesn't seem like there's no like teaching involved. You know what I mean? Like fucking Tywin Lannister, right? He was a bad motherfucker, but you could always tell he was trying to like teach a lesson and shit like that.
Right.
Like help him down the road to see things. This just seems like, yo, shut up, let us do it our way, kind of just.
Yeah, you're stupid.
Yeah, just stay over there.
Yeah.
We go to probably my favorite scene, I would say, the fucking Aegon the Magnanimous.
Yeah.
Enters the throne room. He's got fucking two, I don't even know what you call those guys, but 2 guys that just kind of fucking tell everybody who he is.
Yeah, they're his followers, his
announces, his fucking his personal commentators.
Yeah, his posse.
But as he comes in, they give him the nickname Aegon the Magnanimous, which is a wild nickname.
Yeah. And it just means like kind and nice, right? And like giving.
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't look it up. I should have.
I think it just means giving and nice. Like so just not really. But then we do see him be pretty magnanimous.
Generous, forgiving. Yep.
We see him trying to be nice to all these small folk. He's impressively like understanding.
Yeah.
And too nice.
Yeah, which is a huge change up from how he was as a teenager. Like a drastic change up because he was literally coming on the people of King's Landing like 15 years ago. And now he's fucking a man of the small folk. But even like the nickname thing, I like how he looks back and he's like the Magnanimous, and the guy just like kind of like stunts. And I was like, all right, got a little bit of like comedy going on. Like, all right, that's different.
Yeah.
I like it. We see the sheep farmer comes up, says the crown took a bunch of his sheep. Right away, Aegon's like, "Yeah, we should definitely give those back to you."
Yeah, taxes are stupid. Yeah, you deserve those back.
Like, fuck yeah, I vote for this guy too. This guy's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, no, taxes are important, and we're about to get in a war.
Oh, fuck.
He's like, oh, yeah, after further thought, taxes are important.
The best, though, is he like, after Otto says that, he's like, maybe we can just give him his back because he came such a long way.
Yeah.
And then Otto goes, like, if you give one back, all the sheep herders are going to come asking for theirs back. And he's like, they wouldn't know.
Yeah. Just very short-sighted. You're an idiot.
I like him. I like him a lot. I can't lie. Then we get introduced to a new character who I know of. I mean, I feel like I do know. I'm not a full-blown book reader of all the books like you've read. I know enough. I know the name Hugh the Hammer. I don't know exactly what he does, but I know the name. But we meet a man named Hugh, comes in. He's a blacksmith. He wants the money up front to build the catapults because they're super expensive. And Aegon's like, yeah, for sure, dude. And then Otto tries to come in again, but this time he shuts him down.
Yep, Aegon's first flex versus Otto there.
Yeah, and he knows it. He doesn't even really try. He ends up just backing down the stairs like, all right, fucking...
Yeah, he's not budging.
Just shut me up on that one. Yeah, for real. But you made a good point. He was like, yeah, like, these fucking things are expensive. If it's going to fucking help you guys, then so be it.
Yep.
Which is actually a better thing. Like, we're going to war. Like, we need the fucking catapults.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense to me. As long as they aren't, like, about to run out of money, why wouldn't you
exactly
pay for some stuff up front?
Yeah. He said it would help him and all the blacksmiths, so it's like, what are we doing? You guys are helping them. We're helping. That's people helping people.
We just took these taxes so we could do this shit. Let's
exactly.
use these taxes for stuff.
But like I said, Hugh the Hammer. Is there anything you can say about him that's not fucking super misleading? He's gonna be a character, right?
Can't really get into it too much. He will be back.
All right.
I will say he's more of like a questionable, like some people love him, some people hate him portrayal in the book, where he seemed like a really cool guy so far. So we'll see where they take it. But
blacksmith getting involved.
Yeah.
Gendry.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, well, this guy seemed like he was of higher born, it seemed like. But he is a blacksmith though at the same time. But he was like well dressed. He certainly didn't look like the sheep farmer guy.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe he's just a really good blacksmith?
Yeah, like you said, kind of reminds me of Gendry's master, where he was like the best in King's Landing, so he was pretty well off, had 100 people under him. Seems like he's in charge of building all the siege weapons for like all of King's Landing, so he's the best of the best in that regard. But yeah, cannot get too much into it.
Oh, okay.
Except for maybe the nickname you said. Sir Hugh the Hammer.
I don't know. I honestly don't even know why. I imagine it's probably referenced in either the show or the books at some point, like a story for kids or some shit like that in one of the books. I can't remember anything else really, though.
Yeah, he's definitely referred to in the main series a few times. Yeah. And then, he's a good one. You'll like him.
I was gonna say, because especially in the books, a lot of the kids make references to like stories from back in the day. Like Joffrey does it, Arya does it, Bran does it.
Yeah, Joffrey spoils this whole show.
That's right. Scene. Yeah. Which is funny.
Yeah, but they also like intentionally show them getting some things wrong.
Yep.
Like they misname dragons or say this or that happened, and it's like no,
that's true.
That's not how it happened
true.
According to this guy, or according to now the real history that we're being shown on the dragon.
That's true. Which I do like that in the books. I'm interested to read this book eventually, but I like that there's different variations because it's just from a POV of a maester.
Yep.
You don't get the full story of everything.
Yeah, and the maester who's writing it is mostly doing it from two main interviews, which I've gotten into before.
Okay.
One is the Archmaester, who's in on all the small councils, and then the other one is the Fool, Mushroom, and so it's kind of interesting to see a lot of these things that Mushroom said actually do happen in the show.
Yeah.
And so like more of his testimony just becomes more meaningful.
And right. I got
like
you.
What else was he right about?
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So like there's a couple quotes that we see in this episode that he says.
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
Love that.
And so yeah, we'll see.
That makes me interested. I'm gonna definitely get to that book eventually.
You should.
I want to read the other one first though. That one started filming I think this summer. Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that.
I think they said they want it to be ready for next summer. I'm pretty sure. Which I think the plan is to be able to interchange them and have thrones every summer.
I would love that.
You'll have like House of the Dragon, and then you'll have Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then by the time that those have run their course, they'll have whatever's next in development greenlit. Like I know supposedly they have the Jon Snow series, which who fucking cares? And then I think that there's the Thousand Ships. I think I mentioned that last week. I think the Thousand Ships series is in development. Cool. Let's see. I got a couple more. The Clubfoot, weaseling his way on the King Aegon. Yeah. He's heading up the stairs at one point. He stops him. Kind of tells him that, hey, I know Otto's trying to manipulate you. He did the same thing to your dad. Mm-hmm. And there are things that you can kind of do to fucking get out from under his thumb. And Aegon's obviously very intrigued. So it seems like the Clubfoot is trying to inch his way closer to the king, not just Alicent. And it also seems like he's going to be trying to push Otto out, which means Alicent loses one of her allies. There's a lot going on with that move that it can be going a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, it's very Weasley.
He is.
Like, your father was known as Pliable, if you remember. Like, is that how you want to be remembered?
Yep.
Just like forcing him to say the thoughts that he's planting in his head.
That's in the trailer for next week. I just watched it again. Mm-hmm. He goes, I don't want to be viewed as weak, or I don't want to be seen as weak. And then Otto says, you're already seen as weak, Aegon, or you're already viewed as weak, Aegon, whatever word it is. And actually then you hear Cole say, fucking, be careful how you talk to your king. And I'm like, this fucking guy, man, I hate him so much. It's unbelievable. Like, he's just such a little fucking cunt.
Yeah, hard to sympathize.
God, he's fucking awful.
At least he's a badass warrior. Freaking cheer for a good showdown.
I can't wait to watch him die. It's going to be freaking awesome. We have Rhaenyra and the White Worm both get back to Dragonstone. Rhaenyra's got she's got the evidence she needed, so now she's like ready to fucking get things moving. She lost her son. She's pissed off. Daemon and Rhaenys are both like, yo, this is what's going on. She doesn't say anything about it. She actually, this is her only line of the entire episode. She just turns and says, I want Aemon Targaryen.
Yeah.
Which is this gangster. The way she says it.
Dead or alive, seems like, right?
Yep. And then they show Daemon's face right away, and there's just like a little smirk that you see, and he's like, all right, like, I'm going to take that as you're talking directly to me, and I'm going to take care of that for you.
Yeah. Sounds like you don't want to get into the details. You just want results.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Which almost seems like she is talking directly to him. Yeah. Like, I don't need the council to fucking come up with a plan. Like, this is what I want. Yeah. And who's going to do it better than Daemon?
Yeah.
And like I said, we also see that the White Worm is also back. We found her on a ship. She was trying to like stow away and get out of town. Daemon offers her a deal. Her knowledge of all the spies and servants in King's Landing, and she gets her freedom.
Yeah. So that's a slight change. We'll see how that goes. She is still the key person that connects him with Blood and Cheese, which is what the rat catcher and the
so that is a book
guy.
Thing.
Oh yeah.
See,
it goes differently there too.
I thought that was I thought the internet instantly claimed them as that, and I was like, I fucking love the internet. I was like, that is so fucking great.
Yeah.
But then I saw it a couple times. I was like, all right, I think this might actually already be a part of the book. So.
Yep, I think that's what their names are in the books. They're like unnamed, other than being known as Blood and Cheese.
Right.
But so yeah, she still is the one that he contacts in King's Landing. But at this point, she hasn't been like screwed over by Otto. She still has her little spy network.
Oh, okay.
And her manse and everything. And
okay.
So she's still like a fixture in King's Landing.
Okay.
Which doesn't change too much, other than I don't know. We'll see where she goes next. He offered her freedom, but
also in the trailer for next week.
Okay.
She's talking to Rhaenyra.
Okay.
It sounded like she's gonna. It sounds like she's trying to give her like advice. I think. Oh fuck, I can't remember the line. But she says something about being queen or like a war. It seems like she's trying to be like, hey, you can look at things from a different angle here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess them pulling her out of King's Landing and bringing her to Dragonstone is just going to make her a bigger part of the story.
True.
So they must be trying to just add more.
And her POV on handling situations is drastically different from anyone that she's ever known in her life. Like, she's bottom born. She's fucking doesn't have any, like, she has nothing. She came from nothing. Mm-hmm. So the way that she's going to go about maneuvering through a situation is going to be very different from, say, her dad taught her, or how she's learned from Daemon or whoever else. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, like you kind of just said, so Daemon's got his way in. He's got the White Worm helping him out. He finds, what is it, a guy at the King's, not the King's Guard,
one of the
Gold Cloaks. The Gold Cloaks.
Which Daemon used to be in charge of.
Right.
And they were like his personal army for a while on Dragonstone.
Yeah, they were like savages, the one scene they showed him in the show.
To, throw sex parties for him and like,
hell yeah.
Just like they had a good time.
Hell yeah.
And this guy's obviously one of the nastier Gold Cloaks who still hates
the High Towers.
Yeah.
We see him. He gets him first, gives him a nice bag of coin, and then they go find this rat catcher guy that the White Worm told him about. Gives him a sack of coin too, and he says to you guys are gonna sneak in and you're gonna kill Prince Aegon, son for a son.
Prince Aemond.
Prince Aemond.
Yep.
My bad. Goddamn names.
Yeah.
Prince Aemond and a son for a son.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be hard to find. Got one eye.
That's one thing I'm worried about. Yeah. They never say, they're like, what do we do if we can't find him? And then they just show Daemon staring. And we get that line, a son for a son, later.
Yep.
But it's still not really clear if he's like Aemond or nothing, like I want a son for a son. Or if he's like, do whatever you can, I want a son for a son.
Yeah.
Or like what?
That's kind of what the impression I get from that. Is just like, if you can't find him,
right,
find somebody.
It's definitely how they took it, but
definitely how they took it. Yeah,
but no joke. It was also a big question in the book if Rhaenyra said go kill Aegon's son, which is much more heinous than
Aemon's.
Than a guy who actually did something wrong. You're not just killing a baby,
full-grown man too.
Yeah. And so the way that is portrayed here, it seems like she's not at fault, other than forgiving for sort of setting it in line. But she did not say go kill children.
True.
Which was kind of up for debate in the book.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's not something you want on your resume.
We can agree it's a lot worse to kill the 5-year-old than kill the guy who actually killed your son.
Yeah, no shit.
And that's obviously, we see in the trailer for next week that she's fucking pissed at Daemon. Like,
True.
You undermined me. It made me look terrible.
We do. As Blood and Cheese head their way up to the chambers there, they see Aegon one more time, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Aegon's just in the throne room with a couple it looks like the same fucking peasants he was hanging out with already, like last season.
Yeah.
And they're just fucking in the throne room. He's sitting on the throne room, and they're just getting hammered drunk. Mm-hmm. And the conversation's funny, too. They're trying to come up with a new nickname for him because Magnanimous sucks.
Yeah.
But he's like, what are you guys like? The Dragon Cock.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it.
Yeah.
I like Aegon. I don't know what to say. I'm in on King Aegon. I am. I'm in.
That's perfect.
I hate the Greens, but I like this guy. He's fucking funny. Yeah. Cracks me up.
It is a little bit funny, or interesting at least, that like to see him just like getting pissed drunk on the throne, like his leg over the arm and stuff.
Yes.
Where there's been so many examples of like kings that didn't respect the throne enough. The throne would kind of take them out. They would slice them here and there on with the the swords, and that's kind of what happened to Viserys. He slowly got nicked to death by diseases got from the swords, and
not worthy.
And Joffrey gets caught by the throne in Game of Thrones. Like the throne kind of has a mind of its own. Like it kind of expresses its feelings about the current king.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of like
more old
very
magic.
Unproven, but
there's some evidence to support it.
Yeah, and for him to just have no regard for it at all, it's not a good sign.
Yeah. I like to think in that case the chair's just like, all right, you know what? He's an asshole, but I kind of like this guy.
Yeah, that's a good little break.
He said, there hasn't been any fun in this room in a long time.
Dragon Cock, that's a good one.
The last time someone was having fun in here was a guy who literally just blew people on. Oh, wait, no, the Mad King hadn't happened yet. I was going to say it was just lighting people on fire, but never mind. The Mad King doesn't happen yet. No. So never mind.
He's coming.
Yeah, he is. He's coming. But they get up there. They can't find Aemond, so they end up bumping into Helena and the two children, and they ask her which one the boy is. They say that you other two can go free. He's just like, we need the boy, a son for a son. And I know this is Game of Thrones, and I know that anything can happen at any time. But I was sitting there, and I had my hands over my mouth, and there was like something, like somebody's going to save this little boy. I was like, I know we lit a girl on fire. Right? I know we've done some really twisted things, but I was like, we're really gonna like kill this kid, but they did. I forgot about they killed Robert's fucking bastards in season 1. A couple of them had babies and shit like that. And the next thing you know, they literally saw the fucking baby's head off, and you can just hear and it's absolutely foul.
Yeah, brutal.
Just foul.
Brutal.
The sound is what does it. You know what I mean? It's like that is what makes it the worst. You hear it. It's like,
yeah. If you can believe it, it's somehow like worse in the book.
What? I'm sorry.
It's worse in the book.
I'm sorry. How so? Please go on.
Before saying how it's worse, saying how it's different a little bit. which is that it was a lot harder for them to get into the royal quarters. It was kind of like strangely easy for them. There was like no one to get past.
They did get in there pretty damn easy.
They did show Kristen Cole like not on his post right before that. You know, he was talking to Aemond. And,
right.
And Otto said, "Return to your post," which maybe was who you were hoping would come and save them or whatever.
Something, like, yeah, there you go.
But so it was a lot harder for them. I don't know if you remember in Game of Thrones, but inside of King's Landing, there's another castle with a moat around it called Maegor's Holdfast.
Yep.
So that's where like Cersei and Sansa hide during the Battle of Blackwater Bay.
Right.
And so that's where all of the Queen and all the royals actually live.
Right.
Way harder to get to. They have to go through
a castle within a castle.
Yes. So they end up going through like the walls like of the privy and like end up actually capturing Alicent in her room and like holding her hostage there because they know that Helena comes to visit her every night with her kids. And so they're waiting for Helena to come. Eventually she does come in and they ask her, "Which one do you want us to kill?" Oh, this is the other thing. There's a third child in the book. So there's the twins, and then there's another son who's like 2. And so they're like, "Do you want us to kill the 6-year-old son or the 2-year-old son?" And they make her choose. And she says, the 2-year-old, Maelor. And they're like, and they say, "You hear that, boy? Your mother wants you dead." And then they kill the older one.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Then they kill, so the 6-year-old who's alive now is the dead one in the book. Or no, I guess he gets killed.
Oh
so
my God, that is worse.
Fucked up. And
that is
and Helena
worse.
grows to like hate her 2-year-old son. She just like deteriorates. She can't look at him anymore. Like Alicent has to take care of her 2-year-old son. It's messy.
Oh my God, that's fucking
it's pretty fucked up.
Crazy.
So they lean into a lot of it, but it could have been worse. And who knows if that other son just doesn't exist in this story at all, or if they just haven't shown him, or what.
Yeah, it seems like they cut a few children to make things a little bit less complicated, which makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, it just seems like there was a lot. I feel like Rhaenyra and Daemon's 2 kids, they kind of just like threw them in there for that one scene. And they're like, "All right, you guys won't see them ever again. It's fine."
Yeah.
Then Helena goes and she bursts into Alicent's bedrooms, which is where we see her and Cole fucking again.
Mm-hmm.
And
some fallout for sure.
Yeah. Helena's not even bothered by it though. She doesn't even like acknowledge it. She just says they killed the boy, which was intense.
Mm-hmm.
But just a wild closeout. And they closed out like the last 10-15 minutes was all like that one thing, which is I feel like kind of unusual for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was really just staying with them.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, it's the last little thing that's going to make them all into. That's part of the preview coming up. He says...
Oh, it's on now.
He literally says, "I declare war" at the top of his lungs. Yeah. Like, so it's on now.
It's definitely on now.
Crazy shit. Yeah, I'll leave. Like, I was going to throw something else in there that could end up coming up, so I won't mention it.
I'll say it seemed like there was still somehow, even after what happened with Luke, that they would just, there was a little bit of hope for them that things wouldn't fucking go crazy.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be quite the opposite. Now it's going to be like, all right, fuck this. Let's fucking go. Mm-hmm. Which is why I would imagine, like I said, episode 2, the trailer seems like there's already going to be some fucking bloodshed and some fucking chaos.
Yeah, they're just so many good clips of dragons flying and just infernos from unknown sources and screaming for war, grabbing armor. A lot of cool shit. More Kristen Cole and Alicent getting back at it.
Yeah, so Kristen Cole's gonna cut his hair.
Yeah,
look like more of an asshole somehow. Actually,
yeah.
It's like now you think you're a bad boy, huh? I can see it. You think you're fucking cool now. You're edgy.
Yeah,
you got the short hair guy. Fucking loser. I hate him.
We see Rhaenyra's pissed at Daemon. She has to deal with the fallout of this that she didn't say to do. Can she trust him? Is he too much of a wild card? They also showed a little clip of a lady in a red robe.
Oh, yes.
Which I think is probably that lady I mentioned last time, Alice Rivers, who is known to be maybe magic and bathing in blood to be younger and having dreams and prophecies. And then just the fact that they showed her in a red robe with red hair.
Yeah.
They're definitely trying to mirror Melisandre.
I do like that. And I like the magic shit.
I can't wait to see what they do with her.
Okay, so that's another person to keep out an eye for, especially this week.
Yep.
So the last thing before we kind of give any last quick thoughts, I had 4 of them, but we already covered Hugh Hammer. I had 4 people of interest that kind of stood out to me. Hugh we already talked about. Then the other one was the dude named Alan, who we see. He's the guy that saved Lord Corlys in the Stepstones.
Right.
He doesn't he just kind of was interesting to me because he didn't seem like he wanted any praise. He didn't even seem like he really wanted to have a conversation with Lord Corlys. It seemed like he was just kind of like, I have a job to go do. Like, it was just doing my job. I was just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of weird, but Corlys seemed like he was on the opposite. He seemed like he was very intrigued by him. Like, he kept like looking at him, like kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. More so than just being like, yeah, you're the one that pulled me out of the water. It seems like there's more to it.
Yeah. So I was thinking, is this guy going to play a bigger role? And obviously, the number one thing on my mind for all of this now for potential characters is, are they going to ride a dragon? And I do remember Daemon did say that there is one dragon on Driftmark that is unclaimed. That I remember. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking maybe this could be one of the guys who's going to try to claim that dragon, some shit like that. I don't know. But obviously, he stood out to me because he had a pretty, it was like a 2 or 3 minute scene in this episode, and then he was also in the trailer for this week's episode as well. So He's obviously going to have a bigger role to play.
Yep. And in the trailer for the new episode, he was talking to another like similar looking black guy with dreadlocks too.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
they did mention his son too, Lord Corlys' son again for a little bit. What was it, Laenor?
Yep.
They talked about him. He gave him the dagger and shit like that, which. Laenor, I still think is going to end up coming back. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's a big question mark because that's not how it is in the book.
Yeah, you're not going to have him get off just to that's not how Game of Thrones works. It was the same thing with Gendry. It was the exact same thing. It's like, all right, you're sailing off. Like we'll see you again down the road.
Right. Yeah, especially because it has always been a rule. It seems like in Game of Thrones that a dragon can only have one rider.
Right. Yes.
And
at least to my knowledge, that's how I always interpret it.
We haven't really seen another example of someone else riding a dragon until the previous rider was dead.
Right.
And so we know Sea Smoke's rider is not dead unless some unknown thing happened to him since he ran away. So what's going to happen with Sea Smoke?
That is interesting.
Yeah. If Sea Smoke is a factor, then it wouldn't have to be him that rides it. It wouldn't have to be Laenor.
Yeah, maybe fucking the dragon just like, fuck you, you abandoned me, bro.
Right.
I get a new guy now. So that was one. The next one is actually 2 people. It's the twins. These twin guys, I'm assuming, are going to have a bigger part in this show to play because they keep going out of their way to give them screen time.
Yeah.
One was this week. They showed the one that's still in King's Landing. He's the one that's like commanding the troops on top of the wall that are like doing the dragon lookouts, which what a cool job that is. You must be chilling just all day long.
Yeah.
So like, oh yeah, oh fuck, and then it's like someone that's on your side. You're like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go back to fucking off now.
Yep.
But they show him, and then the other one is keeping guard on Dragonstone, but he goes out of his way to defend the White Worm to Daemon, and then he kind of like also doesn't back down from a conversation with Daemon. So I thought both of these guys were intentionally getting extra screen time. Yep. Obviously, they are twins and stuff like that, and they're declared for opposite sides, but to me, it seems like there's something more with these 2 twins.
Yeah. I think we'll have something come up with them. They also kind of really stressed and tried to reinforce that the Eric on the Blacks is like a lot of stuff he says was like looking out for the small folk. Like he talked shit about how Aegon had bastards and the children fighting pits and stuff.
Right.
And,
That's right. And
how he defended the White Worm was saying like she looks out for people. She's a good person. She like was just making her own way. She wasn't doing anything evil.
Right.
And so they're really stressing that versus that was the disagreement he had with his brother was his brother's like, yeah, the king can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter if he has bastards that he gives up to be like slave soldiers.
Right.
This is our job. And so it is that kind of moral dilemma that split them in the first place, and they're both kind of sticking by that. And
it is pretty fucking weird to have twins on opposite sides.
Yeah, crazy.
They must hate each other. Like already before.
They got beef, yeah.
Yeah, they had to have already.
Daemon was like, "Why didn't you kill your brother when he decided? And why didn't you kill all the Greens?" Like,
yeah, that was a good response.
Either you're on our side or not.
Which Daemon seems to like respect honor, like very much so. Like when people, you know what I mean, like that when he's like, we're tied to the royal family. Like, what do we do when they turn on one another? And he's just like, okay.
I could see that being.
It's not a bad question.
Yeah.
So they are, like I said, those are two people that stand out to me just because like I said, it seems like they're intentionally going out of their way to give them more of a story. So I would imagine it's going to be for some reason. Yep. The last one is Allison's Handmaiden. Two different times they again, kind of the same thing. They really linger on her face, which to me is all right, they want the audience to be able to identify and recognize this girl. Mm-hmm. So they see her, it's towards the beginning. Oh, it's when Aegon comes into the room. Mm-hmm. She's in Helena's room. He comes barreling in, and they do they really zoom in on her face for a good second. And then the second time is when Blood is setting the rat trap. He's going through looking for the family, and she's there in one of the rooms, and he's just trying to play it off. He tries to just put the rat catch down, and she beelines it out of there. So to me, again, that kind of seemed like they were trying to point at maybe she's going to have a bigger role. So right away I was like, maybe she's working for the Clubfoot. She's one of the Clubfoot's guys, and she's keeping tabs on the royal family for him. That just seems not obvious, but it seems like the easy answer.
No, that's a good point. And where did she run to? She didn't run to Alicent's room.
She was gone.
Was she running to Larys?
She was gone.
Where was she going?
He came out a second later, and she was she's fast. Bitch fast.
Yeah, for real. To kind of connect that to something we mentioned earlier too, where Larys got rid of all of Otto's spies and put his own in. Clearly, he missed Blood and Cheese. They were loyal to the White Worm, who was loyal to Otto. So did he miss them? Or did he leave them?
Intentionally, right.
What is his play there?
That's a good point. He intentionally avoids a gold cloak who hates the high towers.
Right.
It's a good point. I like that.
And so,
that's a good call right there.
We don't really know, but yeah, it could come out where maybe we'll see Larys and the White Worm talking at some point, or who knows where they scheme on their own. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but I'm wondering if they're giving a lot of really creepy, all-knowing vibes from Larys. A lot of shit with the werewood tree.
Yeah.
I feel like he's connected to the rats a little bit too. He's very rat-like in general. Is there any chance he is a skin changer? How does he see all this shit? The same way that they show the rats looking over all these important scenes, they also will show just the camera angle from behind a pillar or through some lattice and this or that. He's always at least watching from the tunnels in a lot of these cases, but
definitely
it gives a more mystical vibe where he
just
knows way too much.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, I love the magic aspects whenever they kind of sprinkle them in.
Yeah,
that's one thing that they cut out on Game of Thrones was the Wraith. That's one thing in the books. Every time that was in, I was like, oh shit, there's something to this bitch. What's she doing?
Yeah.
But they kind of just completely cut that basically from the show. She's in that one episode, and that was it.
Oh, Quaithe.
What did I say?
The Wraith.
I've been watching Rings of Power.
Yeah. But yeah, I still have no idea what Quaithe is doing. She keeps just popping up in dreams in the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, no idea.
Yeah. Which we'll never find out.
Don't you say that.
Which is wildly annoying, what can you do? But yeah, no, overall, I fucking loved this first episode. It was great to be back in fucking Westeros, but this episode, I thought right away, it was just oh shit, fucking stakes are very, very high. Yeah. We're murdering babies. It's we're back.
Yep, it fully escalated. They got full revenge and then some, and it's going to get messy. And you can still see
to be fair, he's younger, but Luke wasn't very old, and they took a dragon out. So I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we're still owed a dragon.
For real, yeah, definitely not quite even.
Yeah.
But
Luke was only 14.
Yeah. And yeah, that little baby-looking dragon was more of just a symbol of power than any real power.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Any other thoughts?
Just one quick one. Again, I mentioned earlier that some of the stuff that Mushroom, the Fool, his testimony kind of came true. Yeah. One of the things he says is he thinks that some of Aegon and Helena's kids, he thinks at least one of them could be Aemon's. Which I don't know if you remember from the first season, Aemon defends Aegon, defends Helena. It's like she's your wife, you gotta show her some respect. And he's like, she's an idiot. So they kind of maybe set that up. And in that case, freaking, they could have killed Aemon's son in this case if just Harris is Aemon's son. We don't know. But I don't remember the exact things, but a lot of this episode, Mushroom was correct about. That's another thing that he says.
If you're cheating on your brother with your other brother, y'all are fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have serious problems. If you're like cheating on him with somebody else who's not related to you because you don't want to be fucking your brother, like, okay, I feel you. I get that. To fuck your other brother, that's weird.
It's all messy.
That's weird.
So, yeah, maybe that would be something that Alicent knows. Maybe that would be why Helena wouldn't tell on Alicent for fucking Cole.
Yeah.
They all have
there you go.
Shit on each
all
other.
Kinds of incestual secrets.
And, yeah. But I don't know if that'll ever come out. But maybe we'll see Aegon just extra pissed. More pissed than he should be.
Yeah.
Because it's actually his kid. Or... I don't know. Again, nothing that I'm actually pulling out of facts from the books, but
twist. That'd be a wild fucking twist.
I'm on the lookout for Mushroom's stuff to be correct.
I'm on the lookout for Mushroom.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
I don't think we're gonna get him.
I want this guy. I want a little friggin' fool to come fucking walking in.
I know. Yeah, he would have been around for Viserys too. He was also Viserys' fool. So unless they really just put him in for something at the end, or I don't know. It just seems like they're skipping him.
Interesting. All right, I think that's gonna wrap it, right?
That's all I got. Yeah, pumped up. I think they are off to a great start.
Yeah.
Nothing but positive thoughts going forward here.
Yeah. And like I said, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms filming like right now. I think it just started. Hopefully for next summer, so that's cool as well. It's hopefully get Thrones every single summer. That'd be dope.
Love it.
Looking forward to this Sunday. We will be back next week, and I'll hopefully keep on doing Wednesdays. That's the idea. So it gives everybody a little bit of time to watch it before Sunday, and it gives us time to prep for it, before just diving right in. So yeah, we'll be talking to you guys next week. Thank you again to Kirk and the Kirk Minahan Network.
Thank you guys.
Hopefully the Minifans enjoy it, and happy watching.
Peace out.